Hello, my name is Cynthia and welcome to my Flosstube channel. I'm happy to be here with you today to talk to you about my stitching, things I've created and made, a little bit of planning, and a little bit of books at the end. It is Sunday afternoon, October 30th, 2022 here in Fort Worth, Texas. It's a busy weekend with Halloween activities and fall festivals and all the things happening, so I thought I would sneak in while I had the time. My house is taking naps and my son is back behind us with his headphones in at the computer, so I think I can actually carve out some time. I want to thank you for returning. If you are a returning subscriber or if you're new, welcome. I've been pretty busy lately with a couple of trips and things that were unexpected. I ended up going to California to visit with a lot of cousins on the event of my aunt's passing. She and I shared a birthday, August 31st, and she passed a couple days after, and then we did her memorial service last weekend. So I flew to California. It was a kind of spur of the moment thing, and it's made for a change in my schedule for sure. I didn't get as much stitching done as I'd hoped to, but this is actually more like 6 weeks worth of stuff. So lots of different fall crafts, several Halloween crafts. I started a Halloween tree that I will show you here in a little bit. So I'm excited to get that underway, and I did some embroidery. But first, let me show you a project I shared on Instagram. I was gifted an entire bag of trims from a sweet friend, Jo, and I will link her Instagram. I don't know if she's still doing Flosstube, but I will link her account. She has a blog for quilting, and she's been very sweet to share with me over the last couple years different trims and wool, and she also sent me some charms and a beautiful card. Thank you so much. But what I wanted to share with this project was a pile of just super bright trim, and I'll insert a picture here of what I've posted on Instagram. I might have a little video too. It was like a neon trim, and when I put them in the Rit dye with instant coffee, I ended up with just a really fun dark, there is some bright, but that's way toned down from what it was, some bright trims, and I ended up using those in my projects today. So I wanted to show those first off because I wanted to thank Jo for sharing. Those neon trims were just something that she couldn't make use of, and with Rit dye and coffee, they were great. And I will say with the trim, when you dye the trim, I ended up drying it flat, because if you dry it hanging like on a hanger or something, all of the dye will wick down. I found that out the hard way and end up letting a lot of the color loose. And so I ended up drying it flat on a pan in the oven with about 195 degrees temperature, and I just checked it every 20 minutes. I should have used parchment paper. It actually stuck to the pan a little bit, but because I like things to be kind of grungy, I don't know if you can tell, there's a few burnt spots on there. I'm totally fine with that. If that would bother you, then definitely use parchment paper. But getting some trim, if you find it at a garage sale or maybe just cheap somewhere on clearance, it totally is doable to have as a more usable trim for crafts that may be more to your liking. So I also used the dye. I wanted to share this too because I'm so cheap. My husband had a beautiful, he's really tall, and so we had to buy custom shirts for his arms to fit, and one of his shirts had an ink pen in the pocket a couple weeks ago and totally ruined the shirt. Luckily no other laundry was ruined, it was just the shirt. But I thought, I am not throwing away this custom, shirt that we have, or not custom, but the specialty size, which costs more money. So I ended up taking my husband's shirt, and with the dye that I used for my trim, I threw it into the dye pot and I wadded it up, and this will make great backing for you know, any kind of pillow I want to do, or if you wanted to do quilting stuff. I don't know how color fast it is, but for pillows and stuff, it doesn't matter. I just thought a good use for the end of your dye pot. I hate to waste anything. And so if I had some dye left over, I just threw that in there. I had intended to make a little witch with a pumpkin head, and it didn't happen this year, but I will put this aside for her because it's so grungy and perfect for that kind of thing. So something that was destined for the trash pile or the rag bin now is usable with fun with dye. So that's just a little something that prefaces these finishes I want to share with you because I did make use of the trim. The first one is a super simple trim or super simple finish. This whirligig is one that I've seen so many people do. It's because it's so quick and cute. It takes like, you know, an afternoon to stitch, maybe a day or two if you have just the evening times. And it is funky, of course, but I just really like Cecilia's designs, Heart and Hand. And I ended up using the same bow as I did for summer, and I can probably use it for winter too, because I might put a red bird on the, I think it has a red bird on there on the winter one. I haven't done that yet, but I've done the other three. And I ended up using my own colors. My daughter Anna said, "Why is the squirrel wearing underpants?" I'm not sure where she saw that in this design, but she thought that looked like underpants. I used my own colors just looking at the chart, and I did end up doing a specialty stitch. I don't know if you can see those blue flowers had 4 little stitches, and anytime you see 4 stitches, I think, oh, I could do an eyelet there, especially on a super simple stitch that maybe kind of, you know, beginner. I guess if you wanted to make it a little bit more intermediate, look and see where you can add some extra specialty stitches, and those little eyelets look cute. I also changed the color of that autumn sign background. I think it was like a tan, and I made it kind of that. It was called Squash, I think, from a Victorian motto. So that was really fun. And then I used that grungy trim that I showed you that had some burn marks on it. I used that to glue on the edges, and I did cover this up, but this had a coaster in the inside. I bought a pack of like 4 coasters from Hobby Lobby, and I've used all of them for the whirligigs so that it's super simple and pre-cut. But that was just a fun finish. I've used this tin for all of them. It's from Hobby Lobby. It says Cotton Stem Co. I've seen it there several times. I wish I had a lid so I could keep these inside of it, and it's sealed up. All you can do is put something in here if you wanted to, but I'm fine with it just like this, and it sits nice. I used to have it on a mirror, and then I ended up putting it here because I didn't have wall space for it. So that's a fun finish from Heart and Hand. I did it on Even Weave from Hobby Lobby. I think I started that on the yellow linen and changed my mind. I did my summer one on yellow, and I decided I wanted to do tan. The other thing I made was another chestnut junction embroidery piece. And sometimes when I've had this piece here, in fact, it's a little dusty. I should have got my feather duster on it, but this was from Dollar General, and I've duct taped this design on, so I can't show you, but it says family under here. It was just a white like arch. I've told you before that I'm always drawn to these kind of Gothic arches. I love that shape. And so I painted this with my Java stain, the same one I use on my kitchen cabinets. You can see this is a new filming spot for me, or not new, but it's been a while since I've been in here. This Java though arch has been waiting for a piece on it for, I don't know, a year, 2 years. And so I thought, let me do a little Halloween embroidery. And this is just a little black cat. Oh, it's got a little, I think I've got some fuzz. I had this all stacked up. So yeah, that's just some fuzz from the ribbon, but I love that cat's face. She looks really ticked off. Not on purpose when I did the embroidery. I usually do, I think it's called a stem stitch. You kind of split the stitch above so that I can kind of manipulate it to cover my lines. I'm not the best embroiderer by any stretch, but practice does make progress. I've definitely gotten a lot better than I used to be, especially figuring out what kind of stitches will help you kind of cheat. I thought about doing some satin stitches on the moon, but it makes it more fragile when you have a satin stitch. So I just did an outline on all of this. And then I did use some of that purple pom-pom trim from my friend that was initially kind of a bright purple, or maybe it was a lavender. I think this one was a lavender. I had another one that was a dark purple and I made it almost black. And this one ended up being a little brighter. I have some witches. I don't know if you can see behind me. There's one that I made last year with purple hair. And so I have some purple Halloween. And then I just made this bow. It's actually glued onto the, this is just cardboard. I think I had this from a box that I got from Amazon. I just used that. And this is mat board. So I cut the mat board, glued on the trim, covered a piece of cardboard, and then put on a bow, just kind of like you would a cross stitch, but it's so much quicker. I could do this embroidery in a couple days. I think I spread it out longer than that, but I finally just pulled it out and said, you're so close, just finish it. And I really like the way it turned out. I thought it was a cute, it's only duct taped on here. I didn't want to do the washers and magnets because I'm really not sure that I'm going to keep it on here forever. I had another Halloween piece for this, but like I said, cross stitch, sometimes my plans are bigger than my schedule. So embroidery for the win. So there's that finish. And then let me show you this temporary fix. I had finished all of my other strings. I think I've done maybe 1, 2, this is actually my third, so not a ton. I've done my strings on this board in the past. I have my snowy string and a Christmas string on this board. I like it for winter. I'd even thought I'm gonna do the backside dark and I'll use dark fabric, but when I actually looked at my finish, I realized I think on the snowy string I left off one of the motifs so it would fit, and I forgot on this one and used my 14 count Aida. It's kind of a country, what do they call that? Kind of an oatmeal Aida that has the flex in it. And it is not gonna fit. So when I went to finish this afternoon, I was like, well, shoot, I'm just gonna go get another board at Hobby Lobby, probably one of those longer, like I wanted a darker board anyway. So I'm gonna get a darker board, but this is a cute little fall design. I may have either spoke about it or showed it last time, I can't remember. I always change my country blues to teal. And I had it over here. Dahlia actually ate the spool of teal anchor thread that I had got at Joann's. So I had to, some of the pieces were severed, but anytime there's a country blue, I like to go teal because it matches my home a little better. But blue is pretty too. That's, I think, the main thing I changed. Most of them I followed somewhat closely. I used my fallen leaves from Frankie, Wicked Stepmother on part of that leaf, and then the rest I just kind of either used what they called for on the DMC conversion or switched it. And that's the Lizzie Kate Thankful string. These are just so fun to do and real quick. I like to have a little piece in a hutch that's a horizontal and like some vertical, you know, different directions. And this bow is also just taped up here temporarily because once I get my final finish, I'll put a new piece of fabric, and I might can show you that next time because it is a Thanksgiving and fall piece. So it's just temporarily on this board right now, but it's better than nothing to show you. The other thing I wanted to show you, let's see, let me show these little crafts that I did first, and then I have my Halloween tree, and there's like six ornaments on that. Yeah, 6 ornaments, 3 stitched and 3 punched. But I also did a few crafts that are fun. We're at the very end of Halloween. This is usually how I do things. I finish things on like the 30th, like today, and then I get to enjoy them for a day, and they'll come out next year. But my daughter Anastasia actually did this with me. We call her Anna. This was a little wood craft, and now I can't get it to display right here, from Dollar Tree. These little wooden cutouts of cats, and when I hang it, they all go the right direction. This goes in my window as like a garland, but it was a fun thing to do with kids because I think even like a 3 or 4-year-old could do this craft. Anna's a little older, so she did it completely by herself. I probably would have had to go behind her in the past and kind of touch up, but this time I didn't because she's 9 now, so she knows how to paint. But we just painted all these little cats, strung them on this jute twine, and I'm sorry, this was laid out wrong. It's hard to get it to look cute. It looked cuter in the window, but you get the idea. I strung it over the window. I have a whole black cat display that I'll hopefully put at the beginning of this video or the end. And this was a 99, well, things aren't $1 at the Dollar Tree anymore, are they? I think it was $1.25. So $1.25 craft, scrap ribbon, scrap twine, and it makes a cute garland. So that was one craft. The other one I wanted to show you, I have this habit of redoing frames. I got some nautical looking frames from my mom. Here's one I did a long time ago. This was at my mom's house too. It's just a, oh, what is this? Paper mache kind of craft paper, and I did some polka dots on there in copper. And there's my little guy that's now 10, but you just put a bow and a button. This is before I was cross stitching at all, so this obviously is in my wheelhouse to finish this way, but I made this frame for some trick-or-treating pictures we get at our church at the photo booth. We're gonna get some more tonight, and I thought, well, let me go ahead and finish these. I don't do a lot of nautical style. I'm, from Kansas, and we didn't have ocean, memories or anything. So my mom had a bathroom of beachy stuff, and I changed this. I painted it from the blue and white. I just used these. I think these are the cheapest ones at Hobby Lobby, the Anitas. I just used some reds and like yellow and then a terracotta, and I made it like a fall wreath. This is just stuck. Oh, it's not even dry. I'll need to get my glue set back up there. But anyway, I just did these Halloween frames because I didn't have any fall crafts, and these were just propped up against something. I thought, let me get these frames out of my closet and make them something that fits for my decor instead of, a nautical blue and white. I just changed the colors. So these are fun ideas if you have some frames from a garage sale or some that somebody gives you. And I don't even have the picture in there because literally I'm going to get some more tonight, and I'll probably swap them each year. Well, my kids aren't going to be doing a whole lot more of trick-or-treating. I think we're getting up there with 5th and 4th grade. It's not gonna be that much longer, but those were some fun Halloween memories. So let me put that up and get out my Halloween tree and fix that flower that's on the floor with the glue, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm not sure how to hold this. This was a new piece of haul for me. I found this tree on Hirschner's. I've been looking for the longest time for an ornament tree. I used an old Christmas tree, not old, but a little tabletop Christmas tree to put all year round in my craft room. It's a rose gold metal one, but I really wanted a metal one like this, and it will work for any season. It's a little bit fall looking to me, but I think Christmas will look good on this too. And it was a enablement, I guess is the word, from Helen D on her channel. She shared that it was on sale. I think it was $35. And if you sign up for Hirschner emails, you can, I'll link it below the website. You can get like free shipping a lot of times, or if you spend $35, you get free shipping. I got the same Christmas book that Helen did, and I'll show you that in a little bit. But you can definitely get some good prices on things. The ones that I had seen online that were this size, I guess it's what, about 2 feet tall? Yeah, I think it's 2 feet, were upwards of $50, $60. So this was definitely more in my price range, and I snatched it up. Everything in my house, I have a ton of, like, I don't know if you can see that clock up there, but I have a ton of raw iron in my house, my chandeliers and things, and this is exactly what I was looking for. So I was like, thank you, Helen. I snatched it right up. And let me show you what's on it. I'm not sure how to do that while I hold it because there's too many little things, but I had planned to do the Boo Moon cross stitch pattern, and I didn't show it. I'll insert a picture of it here. That was from Prairie Schooler. It might be out of print. I found it on Etsy, and you know how they're constantly switching out what Prairie Schoolers are available. So keep an eye out. I got the cardstock one though, so it must have been from an older batch, and it is pretty similar to a lot of the Prairie Schooler ones that are out there. It has a lot of moons on it though, and I like moons, and so it's called Boo Moon. So I went ahead and picked it up, and I changed my colors. The pattern calls for a really bright orange, kind of like a traffic cone orange, and that doesn't really fit. You can see my terracotta wall back there. It doesn't really fit in my house, so I used DMC, I believe it's 435. I'll put it here if it's wrong, which is actually called light tan, but to me that certainly looks like a burnt orange. It's kind of University of Texas burnt orange, which my husband doesn't allow in the house. He's an OU fan, and Texas is the devil. So even though we've lived in Texas for 15 years, but this color was much more in my wheelhouse. I love doing cross stitch decor and things. Part of why I love it so much is because you can make it customized. So many times when you look for Halloween decor, it's going to be really bright. In fact, I have some of the kids stuff that's like purple and stuff, but it's going to be, you know, really bright and kind of cartoony sometimes, and that is just not my aesthetic. So if you can customize it just like you like, then that to me is so fun. So that's what I did. I took the Even Weave from Hobby Lobby, just the 28 count. I didn't dye it at all. In fact, it's just the cream, and then I used 3371. I always get that wrong. You know, the brown black. I used that, and then it only calls for 3 colors. I think that's a light topaz or dark topaz. I can't remember the number, but I thought it was cute. In fact, it's not even dry yet. I just finished it this morning, or this afternoon. But this felt also came from Hobby Lobby, and it's funny. It looks like wool. I've got a bunch of threads on it for my ribbon there. It looks like wool, but it's just stock 33-cent felt, and it's like a heathered color. And I bought it a long time ago, so I can't believe how well it matched. I was really happy. And the tie, I had some black and white fabric. I can't find my black and tan homespun. I'm not putting things away enough. I end up putting, when I finish a Flosstube, I put it all in like a brown paper sack. I take it upstairs to my craft room, and there it sits. So it's probably in another little container that I squirreled away. But I dipped this black and white gingham fabric that I'd had from a finished last video and in my coffee from this morning and put it in the oven. I'd been making muffins back there, and I just threw it on the grill of the oven. So it's still somewhat antiqued. I don't like bright white when you're using prim stuff. I always try to tea or coffee dye it. So here's the first design. I love that moon. The back stitching is just really detailed on this one particular. I'm so impressed with her artistry and just graphic design, because that moon didn't look anything like that, of course, until you put that back stitch on it. And I was just amazed at how it came together. This one is smaller. I think this one is 2.5 or 3, and these are 3.5. And they're all different shapes. So I've got this square and the bigger square. This one I did because it's, I think, the other one that's the quickest. I wanted to have a set of 3, and there's cuter ones too. There's ones that have a haunted house with a moon, and there's another flying witch with a moon. So it's almost all of them have moons except for this one, and this guy was just kind of quirky. So again, still not even dry, but I sandwiched the felt. This was the simplest finish. I had thought about doing another piece of foam core and pushing them together, kind of like Priscilla does, but I love the felt because you just slap it on there and then trim around it with pinking shears, and you are good to go. And I did sandwich in the jute twine, and then tied on this homespun that I just tore. I might redo that top. I could make it cuter, but for now, it's the end of the year. Oh, Dahlia's being bad. Okay, anyway, Dahlia was just bouncing off the walls because we had a delivery, and I was showing you these Prairie Schooler Boo Moon. I did 3 of them. I think there's 9, and really I could do all 9 for this display, because this tree is not full, not by any shot. That's one of the other good things about it. It has tons of branches. Some of them only have, you know, like 1 per branch, but look at that. You could fit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on one corner if you really wanted to. Not that I would, but you can fit way more. So the other one that I did was this punch needle set. I showed these on a video previously from Country Stitcher. Oh, I messed it up. I got too cocky about it. Prim Stitcher Country. Prim Stitcher. I can't do it. Punch Needle Primitive Stitcher Magazine. If we could do a reel of all the people trying, because I'm not the only one, all the people trying to say the name of this magazine, it would be really funny. I think you know the one I'm talking about. I showed it in my last video, but it had a set of 5 punched ornaments, and I had all of them drawn, but I ran out of room. I actually made them too close together so that I was trying to use scraps like I do of weaver's cloth, and I didn't have enough space to actually punch when I put it in my Morgan stand. So I'll redo those next year. Possibly there's a candy corn and a witch's hat that would be really cute. But I love this cat. That was my favorite one. It's kind of that, you know, vintage cat face, and almost looks like a cookie, doesn't it? But I didn't do the best job on it. I used a depth of 1, which is supposed to be more detailed, but this had lots of detail and it got a little, I don't know, the word is like smudgy to me. Looks a little smudgy, but it's, you know, vintage, and from a distance it's super cute and graphic. And then this star had just some, you know, smudgy polka dots on it. And oh, this was a booger to finish. I think this would be I could do a tutorial about how not to finish these because it's my first time to do something this small. I did a rabbit, if you recall, last spring that had some really tight corners on its legs, and I put it on a spring. And that was tricky, but for some reason, this shape, oh my goodness, what I should have done is traced the pattern. I put it in the window and put my weaver's cloth on top and traced the star. I should have taken a copy of my pattern and then traced it on a piece of, well, what I ended up using was the back of a cereal box. I like that really thin cardboard. Trace that on the thin cardboard and then cut it out. What I did instead was glue this flat, you know, the uncut star onto cardboard, or I just tried to guess the shape of the cardboard, and you can see that it was too big. I tried to paint the edges where it doesn't quite touch. And in fact, what I'm going to do is come back with a Sharpie. I've done that before. I painted it, but it's drying too light. What I should have done is got it all painted dark. I was in a rush, and then glued it onto this felt, which you can see is still drying. That worked out really well, but the shape itself, getting that weaver's cloth to go around all those tight little corners. Of course, you know how you can like slit the fabric, make little notches all up and down it so that it makes a curve. But it was really tricky. I think it's still cute though. I like that it's a star. I worked hard enough to get it finished because I think it was worth it. So I've got the star, the cat, and then this pumpkin. And it didn't have you use more than one color, but I used some different variations. It's funny to me that the names of these DMCs, this is called Topaz. And I guess maybe it does look like a topaz, but to me it looked like just a vintage orange. And then I used that just homespun that I dyed in coffee again and sandwiched it. So the whole set of 6 look like this, and I have, like I said, 6 more of these Boo Moon to do. I'll probably do at least 3 more, maybe 6. I didn't love the witch, but I loved the house with the pumpkin, and the other one is a moon. I think there's a really cute owl and a cute cat, so I'm going to definitely do those, but I don't know about the witch and the other ones. It's just a really cute pattern though. And then I have the candy corn that I definitely wanted to do. I just ran out of room in my Morgan stand. So there's my Halloween tree, my vintage primitive Halloween tree. If you want vintage primitive Halloween decorations, a lot of times I find you have to make it yourself or pay a lot of money for it at a boutique, because you're not really going to find that style at Hobby Lobby or Michael's or just any of the, commercial big box stores. So thanks for letting me share those with you. I think that's all of my finishes. If you count those 6 ornaments, there were like 9 or something with my embroidery and my whirligig and my string. Nothing very big this time. I did kind of have a little bit of a slump, but I've been reading a ton, so I'll share some of that with you. And let me come back and share with you my Christmas whips, just a little bit of progress on those and something that I'm really going to focus on coming up. And I also have some of my stitching journal and a little bit of book talk. So I'll be right back. Thanks. I'm going to show the couple of whips I worked on that I didn't finish and get a ton of progress on, but I'm going to be focusing on, especially over the next month, including my Hawkhorn Hollow, which I didn't work on at all, but I will show you next time, hopefully with some progress. The 12-day ornaments I did pull out and almost finished my 8th day. I ran out of that yellow thread and I need to go get some more, but these little girls have, I guess they're, I did this last time. I called them bucket ladies. They're milkmaids. The 8 maids of milking have red shoes because I love red shoes, and they're little brown buckets. So I have 1 more to finish, and then I'm going to maybe skip to 11 and 12. This is that red fabric I dyed myself. Here's day 1 through 5. I'm sort of copying Kathy Haberman's design, where she did the, I had a picture of it, but I don't see it in front of me, where she did the 12-day ornaments on red. I think it's called Aztec red. And this is just, you know, my version of it, but I'm using my own colors. I look at each pattern. This is a freebie online, so I can show it, but I use my own, you know, ideas of, well, I think this should be green, this should be whiskey, this is going to be white. And I kind of make a note to myself, I don't follow any of her design. Sorry, as I was saying, I don't use her key. I think hers had like 3 colors, maybe more, but I use about 5. So I just kind of make them up, and I'll share more at the end. I did decide for sure I'm going to use this French General fabric with it. It's going to be kind of more of an elegant design, and I have some charms that I got from eBay. So that is going to be a must finish for this year. I kind of stalled out on it, but I've kind of picked up some steam to go ahead and finish it. And the other one that I feel like I'm so close. Maybe I'm not. You know how those samplers, you'll think, oh, I'm almost done, and then you got details, details, details. But I really feel like I can get this one finished this year. I am changing the verse to one of my favorite Christmas songs by Rend Collective, though, instead of an alphabet. So that'll take me a little bit longer. But I finished I finished the top. They're the sawtooth pattern, and then started on the other part, and then I made a few holly leaves down night before last. So if I just do a couple a day, I feel like surely I can get this done. This is on 36 count limestone that I dipped in tea. It's supposed to be a light green, and I kind of messed it up, but I still think it's gorgeous. So that one I'm anxious to get finished this year, and I keep that in this cute bag from Hobby Lobby. I don't know if they're going to bring this fabric back this year, but it says Christmas on the farm, and I like the vintage look of Christmas. So those were the 2 whips I worked on. Let me show you a couple of pieces of haul, and also kind of books. I shared this on Instagram on Friday or Saturday of this weekend. This just came in, and people just went nuts for it. I thought, well, okay, I didn't know it was going to be that big of a hit, but this case I got on my Kindle. I'm kind of segueing into books here, with a voucher. QVC had a really good deal. I think I got this Kindle for $49, which they're usually like $100. So I haven't had a Kindle that works. I gave mine to my daughter. I haven't had a working one in like 5 years. So I thought I really want a Kindle. And so I snatched up the deal and forgot it comes with this free voucher. This case is like $35, I think. But since I got it with my Kindle for $50, I thought that was a great deal. And it lets you take any photo you want and customize it. A lot of people show, you know, pictures of their family and stuff, which, does that make me shallow that I use my stitching instead of my family? Anyway, I took a couple of samplers that I have that are portrait orientation. It wouldn't have fit very well if it was this way, landscape. So this one is by Blackbird Design. It's an out of print chart, sorry, but this is called Birds of a Feather. And then here's my Lucy Beam Love and Stitches, Christ the boat is keeping, no, though he seemeth sleeping. I tried to get it. This is a little crooked. I didn't get it perfectly in there. I fiddled and fiddled with it, and I was like, that's okay. As long as the front is straight, and it let me put my name on it. I just think it's so cute. So I was really happy to have that Kindle case, and I am using my Kindle a lot lately to read. The other thing I got was this fun journal from Amazon. I got a sticker in Santa Cruz when I was there with my family. We got to stay on the beach. I'll put some pictures here of our trip. But I love this bullet journal because it has numbered pages. And I was going to share just a few things from this that I have for plans ahead. I kind of like to sort of sketch out a vision board. I was going to share that at the end. The other thing I picked up, this is kind of books / haul, if that makes sense, is a new happy planner. And again, with my plans to show you what I put in my journal, I have this old happy planner. Actually, it's a happy notebook that I have just filled with Flosstube notes and different plans I have. I'll show you a little bit of that. I can show you more if you want, but I was just going to give you a sneak peek of it. But what I did this year, I love my book of days. I love having a record of what I'm stitching, but I find that if I have 3 calendars going, you know, one of them's going to be behind. So I don't really care what I stitch on what day as much as just a you know, what did I finish in July? What did I finish in September? That kind of thing. And what I plan to do is, this is just a classic happy planner. I got it with a coupon from Joann's for like 40% off. It wasn't very much. I think it was under $20. And it has, you know, your tabs for the month. You guys have seen happy planners. But what I'm doing is I've got this paper. It was like a doorbuster for $3. And it's an inset of, I think, 60 extra pages. I may have to get new rings, because if I add all this paper in, my notebook that I've added extra paper in is coming apart when I try to turn the pages. So I might have to get the expander rings on that. But what I want to do is put my book of days, my calendar, my book journal, all of those things in one next year. And we'll see how it goes. I might share more of it as I go if you're interested in that. But I did go ahead and make that plan, because by the time October comes around, or November now, I'm already getting appointments for next year, you know, like dentists and stuff like that. So I needed a 2023 calendar. This is pre-printed with 2023. I don't know if it says that on the front, but it's pre-printed. And so I'll just add in pages for my cross-stitch plans, my crafting plans, and my book journal. I like to make a list of what I read, although Goodreads does most of that. And then let me talk about a couple of books. Oh, last one. This is my book / haul. The book I mentioned with Helen D. This is on the Hirschner's website. It's called A Cross Stitch Christmas Festive Favorites. I'm not sure who the publisher is, but I guess it's just Hirschner's. But Craftways Corporation. Helen D did a flip through this. I'll try to link that video below, because these books are pretty cute. There's one in here from Jacob of Modern Folk Embroidery that I really liked. Pretty much the same ones that Helen D liked, I like too. I want to say there's a Cecilia Turner Heart and Hand in here. Yeah, here's the one from Modern Folk Embroidery. Isn't that pretty? And then those same colors. I would do it in those exact same colors, which how often does that happen? And then there's a, like I said, here's a couple of these ornaments I like. So it's not all my style, but I definitely found like 5 or 6, and I think it was on sale for $4.95. So it was worth it to me. And like I said, I'll link the Hirschner's website below if you want to look for that tree or anything like that. But other than that, I just had a couple books to talk about. So okay, I'm going to try to hold my hand as steady as possible. I wanted to share some of my ideas about how to be inspired, especially more on this section with crafts. I put this in my bullet journal. I told you I was going to share a section of it. I try to do different things for my channel and just for my home. I like to do felt applique. I like to do punch needle embroidery. I like to make little dolls. Sometimes I paint signs and sew pillows. And so I kind of just have an idea. The top row there is fall. I have a applique piece of a cornucopia. I did the Halloween ornaments from the Punch Needle Primitive Stitcher magazine. See, I got it with those acronyms there. And then the embroidery was the black cat. So that's just kind of an idea of trying to be balanced with the crafts I do, both for my channel and just in my displays, so that everything's not samey. I like to have different things around the house that I've made, and also to pass on to my kids. They may not all like the same thing. And then I have Christmas plans coming up to do a punch needle Santa. I actually might do a gingerbread man. But there's one I liked that was a Santa. I have a Silent Night embroidery piece that was an iron-on from Hobby Lobby. I might be making an elf doll. So those are just some ideas of how you can be more intentional in the things you make. Like, oh, I have 4 of these. I don't need another. Let me try something different. Or what would round out this design? I like to think like a decorator a little bit. So that's my bullet journal, things I'm going to work on. And let me show you some photographs. I think of this as like my vision board. Sometimes it helps me to see things completed, to be inspired. And also some of the stuff is home decor stuff I've bought. Like I got myself a red couch cover. That's the one I got from Amazon upstairs. My couch was really worn out, and so I just had put that in along with a quilt I love, a top of a hutch display I like. I bought that doll for myself last year. I put a check mark through some of the things I've finished, like Halloween Rules is done, that applique cat is finished. You'll see that at the beginning. I love those little cats that someone made out of scraps and just things that inspire. That's Priscilla's house, that haunted house on the feet. And then I have some whips and things I want to start after I finish other things. So there's Priscilla's whirly jig. I do a lot of Priscilla's things for decorating inspiration, but also just things I find on Pinterest, things that I like the finish on. I put them on a chart on, I don't have Microsoft Word anymore. I have Safari Pages, but I put it in a grid, I print it out, and I put it in my journal with washi tape. So sort of nerdy maybe, but this is just a way for me to feel inspired and to look at this and think, what do I want to make next? What do I want to work on? And these are, like I said, cross-stitch whips, but also display ideas and wool and quilting and decorating. So there's one page. Here's last year's that I did. And like I said, it's nice to have a lot of these checked off, things that I've already done. It's kind of gratifying to see that. And some of these designs I don't even own. I like them for different reasons. But that's another page. And if you'd like to see more of this, like I said, I have, oh, sorry, there's my hand. I have a ton of different, sections in here. Like this is all in Flosstube notes, where I put finishes and things I want to do. At the cover of this, I have my, sorry if that's too fast, I have my whip go board that I haven't really followed very much, but I have gotten some finishes done off of it. So let's see, there's two or three have been finished over there, that one. So I keep things like mostly pasted in with either a glue stick or with a washi tape, and that is part of why it gets really chunky. It's starting to fray. I should have used bigger rings, but that's how I use my Happy Planner. Those Book of Days are nice, but they don't allow me to customize quite as much as this kind of thing where you can add paper to it. It's not a 3-ring, but it's a, what they call a disc binder, so you can add in different things. And I do like to go through this from time to time. I keep it, like I said, seasonally, and it is nice to see things checked off that you've made. So let me know if you'd like to see more. There was last year's focuses, and a lot of them did get done. Just notes I have and threads I need. It has several sections, but if you'd like me to make a video, I had a stitching journal video that was too quiet and a lot of people complained, so I took it down, but I can make another. Just let me know. Thanks. I just had a couple books to talk about, so if that's not something you're interested in, I'll go ahead and finish out my stitching time with you. And thank you for spending the time with me today. I know you have a lot you could choose from. Thank you for choosing to spend it with me. And as I end all of my videos in the book of Psalm, chapter 90, verse 17, it says, "May the favor of the Lord our God be upon us and establish the work of our hands." If you want to stick around for book talk, let me talk about 2 books I read that one I enjoyed, one I didn't. Hang on just a second. Okay, 2 books that I wanted to share. I told you I haven't had a lot that I could share with you lately because I just haven't had a lot that were very clean. It's hard to find books that don't have a lot of language in it anymore. And this is one that does have language. That's part of why I wanted to caution the Catherine Center books. I've recommended, I think, 3 different times. This was her first book, The Bright Side of Disaster. And I enjoyed reading it. You could definitely see her talent. This, like I said, was her first book, so it's there, the way she has dialogue and just really draws you into the story. I like the characters. It's about a woman that, and it tells you this on the back, her fiance takes off when she gets pregnant, and these are basically like a week before she delivers, and how she kind of navigated a brand new baby. And boy, do I remember those days. I had 2 babies in 2 years. So I remember being in that just tunnel vision. Every day feels like, never ending and so sleep deprived. So I enjoyed, going through that experience with her and reading that. But it did have a lot of language in it that I don't remember from the other books, and possibly there is language in the others, but a lot of F-bombs, and it just wasn't very developed. Maybe it's too short, but I felt like just when the story kind of started going, it stopped, and I was like, okay. So this is a Catherine Center that, I mean, if you want to read all of her books, it's enjoyable enough, but I wouldn't really recommend it. It's definitely more of her beginning backlist book, and I think I got it on Thrift Books for like $3, so no harm, no foul. But I didn't like that it had the language, and that it just kind of had such a brief timeline. It just kind of stopped. It wasn't very developed, so that one I can't recommend. This one though, I can recommend, and this was a book of the month for, I realize now that they say it on the back, September. I misquoted that one time, but these were the books from September 2022. I've read all of Sarah Addison Allen's books. She had a book with she hasn't written a book in 7 years, so I'm a little bit behind on, or I'm a little bit sketchy on my memory of what her other ones were. Something about a garden. Definitely magical realism. Like, they're quirky. I'm going to tell you, if you don't like magical realism, like it's called, where it's things that shouldn't be possible that happen, that are, you know, kind of a magical element, then you won't like this book. And it's definitely got some weird characters. I'm not selling it very well, am I? If you like found family, people that are sort of misfits on the edge, there's a mystery in here. There's one element that if I tell you why it gutted me, it'll be kind of a spoiler. So I don't want to do that, but I'll tell you, I haven't read a book in a long time where I just burst into tears. And that's what happened on the last page of this book. It just gutted me. It's, like I said, it's weird and quirky, but she has a beautiful writing style. It's set in the Florida Keys. Is that right? It's set, I'm pretty sure it's the Keys. It's an island, and I don't know if it's a real island or a make-believe, but it's a setting that's really quirky and unique. And like I said, this author hasn't written anything for 6 or 7 years, so I was very excited to see her come out with something, because I caught all of her books. She had cancer and went through a lot of stuff, so she didn't write for a while, but oh, I just love her writing. And this book in particular, Other Birds, it was just really, really beautiful. So there are a couple of books, and I was going to show some pictures of my journal now, but I actually think my light has changed. I actually think I'll insert that a little bit sooner, so never mind that. That should be all I have to talk about. I hope you have a good rest of October, one more day, or whenever you're seeing this. I hope you are doing well and that you are feeling inspired and finding time to create. Thank you so much again. Take care.